we doing this fine Friday afternoon? It's time for more customs. It's part 2 of the February custom card stream extravaganza. Dropping by to go buy me some Hidden Arsenal Chapter 1 boxes. Hey, good luck with that purchase. If you get anything cool, let me know. Hello, Kulava. Hello, Marks. Hello, Dinah. Hello, Blue Bandana Jake. Good luck at work. Enjoy. Thank you for stopping by for a bit. Blue Gem got the cards sent in, and I've got them loaded up on the page. Folks, this is going to be a big one. We have 9 people signed up for today. So, we're going to be here for a while. Just for my peace of mind, I'm going to go ahead and head over to the room. Please make sure to arrive once I give the all clear. We've had people, like, walk into the room right after I finish with the last person, and I love the enthusiasm, really. I do. But sometimes you need a little extra time after the last person to make sure everything is set up before the first one, so I just want to give myself a couple minutes between each person. Alright? That being said, let's go ahead and get friggin' started. Saturday morning for me. Hey, that's A-okay. Marks, thank you for the 5 little bits for Trihorn Dragon. He's gonna enjoy the little snack. Oh, we get the Trishula die? Oh. That's pretty juicy. Alright. Bum bum. Music. Hush. Quietness be upon ye. Now, let's go ahead and head over to the guest comms, and our first presenter for today should be, if I've done all of this correctly, should be Millennia. Whenever you're ready, please feel free to stop on by and we'll take a look at, it looks like, some Dinomorphia updates. Very excited to see what's going on with that crew. Also building Tri-Brigade Fire Kings. Not bad. The Beast Warrior synergies in there are not to be underestimated. Okay. So, while we're waiting for Millennia, I wanted to talk about some updates I've been reading on Twitter. Not Yu-Gi-Oh! Related. I keep my eye on Magic the Gathering stuff. They have a big convention going on this weekend. And they're revealing new cards for new sets, which means new keyword mechanics. And one of them is a set called Outlaws of Thunder Junction. So it's supposed to be this Wild West-inspired set. And one of the cards said, if you've committed a crime this turn, do something extra. And I'm so glad we're going to have a whole cycle of cards that ask you to commit crimes for bonuses. Making strides in my dual terminal campaign. Got a map for it. Nice. Crimes? Yep, crimes. Now, the card didn't explain exactly what committing crimes entails, but because of that, I'm interpreting it that you're just allowed to be a little criminal at the table. Just steal stuff. Be gay, do crimes, exactly. Now, my excitement for that, though, is countered by the new Universes Beyond cards that they were showing off. It's Assassin's Creed this time around. So that's, like, probably one of the least expected crossovers with Magic the Gathering. But, you know, I had the same reaction with Warhammer, and everyone loved that one. And the thing that gets on my goat about those cards is there's a keyword called free running in that one. And A, it doesn't say what free running entails, so I have no clue what that does right now. But B, free running was probably the worst mechanic out of all of Assassin's Creed that they could have put into the canon of game mechanics. Because free running itself, that's not part of Assassin's Creed the world. It's part of Assassin's Creed the controller. Like, it's how you operate the character. It's certainly one of its most famous things. How it operates in game was kind of revolutionary for the time, but naming it free running just feels so strange. Nova, are IP and SP in love? Well, I'm just saying that IP came to SP's or SP came to IP's aid when they were attacked by an S force. So draw 3 cards during your draw step illegally. That's how we're doing the crimes. Also, there's an announcement of Fallout related cards, and as someone who's in love with New Vegas, I freaked. Yeah, the Fallout card's looking pretty cool. I'm look. Well, I'm not. I can't say I'm jazzed for it. I don't really play the game. I'm just a I just kind of watch Magic the Gathering from a bluff somewhere. Those bitches BK hella gay. Hella gay. Their roommates in historical sense. Alrighty. I should, while we're waiting, I do need to turn off some of the viewer rewards today. Unfortunately, we're not gonna have time for replays. The announcements are gonna get in the way of things. We're gonna have to turn all of these off for now. Yeah, okay. There we go. Alright, we'll turn them back on when we do regular stream stuff. Alright, so there we got that. So Millennia, I don't see any updates from them about something, so we might have to move on to our next person. Caleb! Caleb the Oni, thank you so much for following here. Had to finish watching up. How's it going? Going pretty good. We're just getting started. We haven't gotten any headway yet. Our first speaker hasn't arrived yet. So, I think... Let me go ahead and restructure this really quickly. Yeah, I think we're just going to have to go ahead and mosey on over to our next person. Then we'll get to Millennia once they show up. Get the other person's cards pulled up here. Baba Ving. Baba Booey. It's a little... There we go. That's about what framing we need.
Mm-hmm.
Great teleporter noise. How's it going?
Going good.
Let me get this timer.
Yeah, I was watching the stream and saw you pull it up, so that's when I knew that I was missing on the hop over.
Alright, chat box. Move the chat box up a little bit. Ooh, too much. Chat box, work with me here. Okay. Everything's been calibrated. Zeno, how are you doing this fine day?
Doing good.
Good. So, I'm going to go and get the timer started. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the cards that you have for us today?
These 6 cards are essentially support cards for the Balanced Dragons from last month. And just so y'all know, I did share this with Nova. Small update for Requiem Bloom. There are, in fact, archetypes that can run them in canon.
Yeah, you're very insistent on these 2 archetypes also working with the Earth one.
Yeah. Because there's some of the few archetypes that have level 3 Earth monsters.
Now I would argue that they're a little difficult to assemble for this particular scenario, but technically, yes, they can be used.
You could also just run it with dinosaurs with using certain monsters, like, say, Gilosaurus.
And we do love dinos. Okay, that's a lie.
Anyways, these are basically monsters that are meant to support them and essentially help with getting them out.
Alrighty. Then I'll go ahead and start checking these out, see how they fit in. Sirius, Herald of Brilliance, is a level 2. Sirius, the Herald of Balance, is a level 2 light beast tuner monster with 700 attack and 500 defense. And once per turn, you can special summon a level 4 or lower light attribute monster from your graveyard, but its attack becomes 0 and its effects are negated. So the last guy, that was a level 6 synchro, I assume? Level 8 synchro.
Level 8 synchro. Cosmic Star.
Okay. So we have a 2 tuner. We get a 4 or lower. Do we have another way to get the rest of the levels to try to get to our 8 synchro? Or is it just
This
supposed to
is
be this?
usually used alongside fairies.
Mm-hmm.
So the per so the person who runs this tends to already have a lot of different special summoning. And another thing, if they don't help with getting directly to it, they also help with getting to its evolution.
Okay, okay.
Which, uh, spoiler alert here: Cosmic Star's evolution is level 10.
That's big. All right, next is Kyrelius, Steed of Balance. It is a level 3 Wind Winged Beast tuner monster with 1400 attack and 700 defense. Once per turn, you can discard a card from your hand, and if you do, add a card from your graveyard to your hand. So, just any card.
Yeah. Um,
Wow.
it,
Okay.
thing is, so it's a level 3, and it's basically a once per turn effect.
Uh, hey, so is Monster Reincarnation, and that saw a lot of play back in the day.
Yeah.
No, that's not true. It's technically not once per turn, but you use up the copy of it, so it's kind
Mm-hmm.
of in that way. Uh, a very flexible effect that in the right hands can do a lot of stuff.
Yep.
All right, Callisto, Stalwart of Balance, is a level 4 Beast Fire monster with 1600 attack and 200 defense. Once per turn, you may special summon a level 4 fire monster from your hand.
Thus helping you get to prominent. Thus helping you get to the fire one.
Yeah, no, pretty straightforward on that one. Aegir, Reveler of Balance, is a level 4 Watcher Thunder monster. That's a combination I don't think we've ever seen. It's got 1500 attack and 1000 defense. This card may be treated as the entire material for the ritual summon of a water attribute monster. If this card is used as the material for the ritual summon of a dragon type monster, you may banish it face down to shuffle all monsters your opponent controls into the deck. Holy moly. That's pretty strong.
And it corresponds to a certain water dragon ritual monster.
I wonder which one.
Yep.
All right, Aegir. No, I just did Aegir. Ouroboros, Physic of Balance, is a level 3 Earth Reptile monster with 0 attack and 1500 defense. If this card is normal or special summoned, you may put copy counters on it up to the number of Earth attribute monsters that you control, except this one. This card may be treated as multiple materials for the Xyz summon of an Earth Dragon monster, up to the number of copy counters on it plus 1. When used as material this way, the Xyz summoned monster cannot attack during the battle phase this turn. Huh. Okay. So, you summon it out alongside 2 other Earth monsters.
Well, they have the other Earth monsters have to be on the field first.
Yeah, so alongside the other 2. So they're there, it's summoned. You have 2 other Earth monsters, so you put 2 counters on it.
Yes.
And then you go, I perform an Xyz summon. I've got. Now, you said for the summon of an Earth Dragon, and you meant like in the name, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this specifically, so far, is the one that uses it. We overlay with itself,
Mm-hmm.
and then the trade-off is that we don't get to use these higher costed material effects, but it's easier
And
to
it
summon
can't
out.
attack.
And it can't attack. But you do get
For
the
that
one
turn.
effect. Okay, alright. And then lastly is Mordred, Reaper of Balance. It is a level 4 Dark Dragon monster with 0 attack and defense. Once, while this card is face up on the field, you may tribute 1 Dark Attribute non-fusion monster you control. If you do, you may copy the effects of your monsters your opponent controls up to the number of level 8 or higher Dragon-type fusion monsters that you control. If you do not control a level 8 or higher Dragon-type fusion monster when you activate this effect, you may instead fusion summon a Dark Attribute Dragon-type fusion monster using this card as the entire material, ignoring summoning conditions. Ooh.
But again, that effect is once while it's face up.
Yeah, so it feels like what you would want to do is have Mordred tribute itself.
It has to be a different one.
1 Dark Attribute, non-fusion monster. It doesn't say that on here, as far as I can tell.
Fair enough, but the thing is, if you tribute itself, it can't get that burst mode of the effect.
May copy the effects of monsters your opponent controls. Okay, so you would want to tribute a different one for the effect copying effect. But if you wanted to make the Dark Dragon fusion, it would be optimal to have it tribute itself.
Yeah.
Okay, alright. That makes sense. They copy the effects of monster opponent controls. So it just copies their entire text wall, and you get to pick one for every Dark fusion that you or Dark Dragon fusion that you have.
Every level 8 or higher one.
Got it. Okay. That's gotta be gnarly. Like, that sounds like a ridiculous effect.
Yeah, but it also has 0 attack and defense and has no way to protect itself innately.
That's true. It's not going to survive on its own for very long. Though, if you use it as the entire material for a fusion summon, its stat line doesn't matter. The other half, though, it will depend on what kind of effects you can absorb, though, so kind of a give or take. Huh. Very interesting. Alrighty. Well, that seems all the cards that we have right here. Is there anything else about them that you want to highlight or talk about to flesh out what these are capable of?
While they are meant to pair with their corresponding dragon and potentially even help with upgrading it into its essentially evolved form, some of them do also have synergy with their corresponding deck. Say, for example, Sirius corresponds very well with an Agents deck, as there's a lot of level 4 lower light monsters in that kind of deck.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mordred, the guy who uses it mainly uses Albaz, so he can get out a lot of fusion monsters.
Yeah, when you said Dark Dragon Fusion, I was immediately like, oh, okay, so free Albion the Branded Dragon. Free... I guess Mirror Jade's a worm, so you wouldn't be able to make that.
Yeah.
But still, free Albion... Alrighty. Well, thank you very much for sharing these. I will go ahead and grab that Nova scale here, unless we have anything else we need to share.
Nope.
Alrighty. Novelty. So, we do have a few of these that are our typical get more material onto the board to help make our monsters. We do have some that act as the entire basis for a ritual summon. We've seen that in stuff like Gishki.
Mm-hmm.
Ouroboros is probably one of the more unique effects that we have out of here. While the anime does have a few instances of allowing cards to act as singular material for certain kinds of summons, we haven't made that in the game insofar as anything outside of tribute summoning. So it's cool to see that being applied here. Honestly, I think it's a cool concept, like having these metaphysical materials. So Ouroboros is cool. So I think out of the whole grouping of cards we have here for novelty, I'm thinking we've got about a 2. There's a little something spicy in there out of all the regular effects that we have.
Did you consider Mordred?
So Mordred has the copying effect, and like we said with the Ouroboros, it lets you use a monster as multiple material for something. So it's kind of in that same wheelhouse.
Yeah.
All right. Objectivity. Sirius is pretty tame. That's fine. You summon a material. Kyrelius, turning any card in your hands into any card in your graveyard. I don't think it's busted necessarily. But if
also the fact that these cannot be searched unless you have some sort of generic support kind of searching.
Yeah, it would require like some kind of other search ability. But we've never seen more accessibility for winged beasts nowadays because we now have something like Cowrie's Nest on top of Swallow's Nest. So getting to Kyrelius, if you're on a winged beast deck, this is now pretty viable.
Mm-hmm.
So that swaps any card in your hand for one in your graveyard. That can be pretty big. Callisto, kind of like Sirius. just get more material on board. Aegir, uh, also arguably just fine. We already have can be used as the entire material for water attributes for Gishki. The potential of shuffling your opponent's entire monster board off of the summon, that's kind of big.
You have to banish it face down to do so.
Well, sure, but you've already used it for its intended purpose. Banishing it face down is like, okay, cool. This is an addition to that.
Mm-hmm.
But we do have something similar in Fluanderies, that trap card. If you tribute summon, you banish it from the graveyard, you flip your opponent's entire board face down. That's analogous to like wiping out your opponent's ability to do stuff. This just goes one step beyond, and you're already playing water rituals to achieve this. So still think that's fine. Ouroboros, pretty funky, but it can only use it for one particular monster, and you already have to have a setup to get the copy counters to make it happen. So still, Ouroboros, completely fine, especially with like the fact that you don't get to attack with it that turn, and it doesn't get to use its higher tiered material cost effects. Mordred is... I don't know how I feel about Mordred. Because the initial effect that you play it as copies effects based on your Dark Dragons. Fusions level 8. I'm just going to call them Dragon Fusions to condense it for here. And if you don't control any, so it does account for that one, so you can still activate it, I think, but then fusion summoning using multiple material, that's a little different than something like Xyz summoning, right? Because Xyz summoning generally asks you to have multiple monsters that have a same trait on it, so that's easier to say this counts as multiple for that one. Fusions, that's why I also added in
ignoring summoning conditions.
Well, ignoring summoning conditions gets over things like this card can only be fusion summoned, or things like the masked heroes where it has to be summoned by something like masked change. It doesn't necessarily say ignore like the actual fusion material requirements. So this card's saying that it can be used as the entire material. I don't... The way I understand it is, if you had something like instant fusion, that just says you fusion summon it out of the extra deck and is treated as a fusion summon. It doesn't care about things like having to act as all the material for the fusion summon. You just say it's fusion summoned. If you say it's used as the material, I think that means it has to account for the card's actual material. So I think problem solving card text wise, that needs a little tweaking. Aside from that, though, once again, I think the card is fine. People in chat, let me know if there are any other wild Dark Dragon fusion monsters in the game that I'm unaware of, that summoning it out essentially for free would bust the game. But my mind is just focused on Albion the Branded Dragon, which I think, other than the fact that it gets you another fusion summon, is okay.
Don't you need a light monster for Albion?
Yeah, use a light material. So if we did this under the conditions that we were talking about just now, then yeah, Mordred would not be viable material. But then it wouldn't be viable material for any of the Albaz fusions because its name isn't Albaz.
But it's viable for Mysterious Moon.
But it is Moon, so, and that card's pretty nifty. Did we see last month? Lemon, these are like the companion dragons to what we saw last month.
Yeah.
Zark. Is Zark, Zark just says can only be fusion summoned, or is there some other text on there? If you can summon Zark off of this,
Also, yeah, what Blitz said, it's Starving Venom.
Starving Venom is pretty good. I wouldn't say it's busted, but it is a strong option to have, just to be all like, here's Mordred, and now your monster effect is mine! If anything, it's kind of like having the first effect without having to have the setup. Okay,
yeah.
So, objectivity here, overall, I'm giving it a 4. I think that the power level overall is kind of fine. We just got to tune up some of the problem-solving card text, and it'll work out. versatility. Do these things play well with other decks? Do we play well with other decks? And do they want to join in on the fun? Considering we have the entire attribute spectrum here, aside from Divine, for before you start clicking stuff, there's a lot of potential here. Just the fact that Kyrelius is a repeatable monster reincarnation, not just for monsters, you can just grab any card, is a pretty valuable thing that a lot of decks I could see taking advantage of, on top of being a tuner. Callisto is honestly probably the most balanced fire card that I've seen in the last year, so that one's fine. It might not see play in the fire decks because all they care about are level 1 fires.
10 dragons.
Okay, fair enough. It can also extend Tenpai dragons. Aegir, there's gotta be some water ritual dragon monsters out there outside of this, right?
Give me a second, I'm checking.
Not Necros, because those are like warriors and spellcasters. No, wait. The ones based on the lizard guy, those are all dragon rituals. So this could give you a way to board wipe in Necros, but you'd have to be playing those rituals, which are a little iffy.